And hello there. We'd like to welcome you into the Philly and Fred show for Saturday, January 24th, 2026. On today's episodes, we're going to give our picks for the AFC and NFC championship games. We're going to have a couple true or falses, a couple who you takings, and we're going to end it with who makes a statement in the championship games. But before we start on any of that, I saw Robert Kraft said they wanted to go to 18 games. And it was the classic, oh, we want to go to 18 games and we'll take away a preseason game, which I hate when they use that to try to get the 18th game. Because now dudes don't even play in the preseason. So they say all this stuff about player safety and all that, but then they add a game to that 100% and that everyone plays in, and then they take away a game that no one plays in. So yeah, they could say, oh, but see, it's still 20 games, but it's 18 games where you play hard and 2 games where they don't play anyways. And I think the only way they could get into this is if they add that second bye. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Kraft saying he wants to go to 18 games?
Yeah, I don't know about expanding it. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad at a second bye though, because we've the last few years we've seen a boatload of injuries. So I think extending the season, taking out a preseason game would, I don't know, it would probably force more injuries. But maybe if there's a second bye, then that might not be as bad of as an idea. But yeah, preseason games. I mean, you get the guys that are still trying to make rosters. So I think those are valuable as well. So I'm not mad at the 3 or 4 preseason games that we make now. So as of right now, I say keep it at 17. But if you're gonna go to 18, yes, I think you need to add a second bye in there.
Well, not only would the bye help with injuries and stuff, it would help teams that sometimes get their bye in like week 7, week 6,
Like
and
both
then they got to,
teams.
yeah, and then you got to play 13 weeks in a row, and it's like, well, that's not fair. This
Yeah,
team's getting their bye like right at week 10 to where they can play 10 weeks, get their bye, rest for a week, and then play the rest of the season. And then some teams got to get their bye, or yeah, get their bye in week 6, and then they play 14 games in a row. And it's like, well, how is this even anywhere near close to fair if the buys are split up like that? But if you have two, it'd be pretty hard to not have a fair amount of buys.
yeah, I
Because if you
agree.
have two, if you have one early, you'll just have one later, and you'll be rested going into the late part of the year and possibly the playoffs. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's our thoughts on that. All right, on to the championship games. My fault there. Patriots -4.5 at the Broncos. Who you taking in this one, Philly?
Yeah, give me the Broncos plus 4.5. I've seen some books at 3.5 too, but yeah, most of them at 4.5. And I think the books overreacted. We saw this line open up at 5.5. But I think the books overreacted just slightly with Jordan, with Stidham coming in, and I think he can be serviceable in this one. We've seen the last 2 games that the Patriots have played. The defense has really stepped up for those guys. For Drake May, he hasn't been the same QB that he was all year. He has not been that MVP caliber guy. 6 fumbles, 2 interceptions. He's been sacked 10 times, 5 each game. And that's a recipe for disaster when you're going against the Broncos, who led the whole NFL in sacks. We saw last week Sean Payton, even with Bo Nix in there, they completely abandoned the run offense against the worst rush offense. We was talking about it, weakness on weakness. So I think Broncos at home, we see home underdogs covering at a high rate the last few years. I think Broncos can keep it close. And Stidham, he actually had the highest PFF grade out of any QB in the preseason. I know it's the preseason. You're playing against second and third stringers, but I don't think that can be technically overstated. And yeah, like I said, the Patriots defense has really been their MVP of the playoffs. And if Patriots want to win this game, Drake May has to be much better. If he turns it over twice or 3 times this game, I think Broncos are live to win this outright. But yeah, he's got to play way better. I don't think Sean Payton's. I think it's gonna be same game plan. Stidham's gonna have a lot of check downs. I don't think he's gonna be throwing it across the field like Bo Nix, but he's gonna have a lot of check downs, and he'll make this close for this team. So give me the Broncos plus 4.5.
Nah, I'm going to go there with you too because how do you stay close, especially in a playoff game? You force turnovers. Well, what have the Patriots done? They've turned the ball over 5 times in 2 games. What's another way that you can stay in the game and really rough up a team, your defense rough up a team's offense? Get after the quarterback with 4. Well, what do the Broncos do better than everybody? They get after the quarterback with 4 because they led the league in sacks. Well, the Patriots have allowed 10 sacks in 2 games. So all that tells me is the Broncos defense is good enough and the Patriots offense has been bad enough that the Broncos defense can control this game. They can keep them in the game. Sean Payton, I mean, we saw it last week. Bo Nix made some really good throws, but he had a lot of easy, open, quick throws from Sean Payton's play calling. So I think Sean Payton can draw up some plays just like he did last week, get Stidham some easy completions early, get his confidence going. And not only that, but Sean Payton brung Stidham in. And he said he was the best backup. He said he could start on teams. He said he was one of the 32 best quarterbacks. So he thinks he's starter level. So he brings him in. He's been in the system for 3 years. So he's confident in him. And if Sean Payton's confident in the guy, I'll be confident in the guy. But yeah, I think the Broncos defense is good enough to get after the quarterback, force a couple turnovers, and just keep their team in the game. And like you said, I think they can win it. Because if your defense can do that, if your defense can sack the quarterback and force turnovers, I don't know why you can't win a game at home. And on the other side, like we said, the Patriots, they've turned the ball over 6 times. Or my fault. They've turned the ball over 5. Just don't turn the ball over. But that's easier said than done. But on the other side, this might be, I think this is going to be a slugfest because we talked about the Broncos defense and how the Patriots offense has struggled. Well, the Patriots, I was a little worried about their defense coming into the playoffs, but then they've shut me up because in the playoffs, they've played 2 games. They've forced 6 turnovers, had 9 sacks, and they were giving up close to 5 yards per carry the last, I think, 8 weeks of the season. In the 2 playoff games, 22 carries for 48 yards and 22 carries for 87 yards. So their defense has also played well. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring slugfest. And I'm going to take the Broncos. I'm going to take the Broncos to cover and win. Give me a Stidham win and the Broncos in the Super Bowl with the backup quarterback. All righty, next one. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks minus 2.5. Sam Darnold, he's played 2 games against the Rams. He's had 6 interceptions. In the other 16 games, he's had 8 interceptions. So, I mean, he's played bad against the Rams. And then not only has he played bad against the Rams, their offense has also played bad their defense has played bad against the Rams because they've given up 29 points per game against the Rams, against everyone else 15 points per game. So they've not really played good, but they split the season series. And, you know, we've talked about this season, especially late and in the playoffs, that Sam Darnold can't turn the ball over, and we think they're going to win. And like last week, they kept it out of his hands. They've ran the ball really well lately. And I think the Seahawks are going to do that again. And I think Stafford's the guy who's going to turn the ball over a couple of times. Because as we've seen, if you go back and look at years prior of him, he's liable to throw a lot of interceptions. Because he's just like Brett Favre. He's just like Josh Allen. He's just like some of these guys with great arms. They have great arms, but with great arm comes great confidence. And I think he's going to make a couple throws that are dangerous throws. The Seahawks have 18 interceptions this year. I think the Seahawks pick them off a couple times. Darnold doesn't turn the ball over. Seahawks win and cover and go to the Super Bowl. What do you think?
Yeah, those are all great points. I'm right there with you. It's all going to come down to Sam Darnold. He's played them twice the last 2 seasons, and he's 1-3 versus the Rams. He has not played good. 8 total turnovers. And if he's clean in this game, Seattle should win. That defense has been dominant down the stretch of this season, but the Rams have simply just had his number. Now the Rams do have the quarterback edge, they have the coaching edge, the running back edge, but I mean that all goes out the window here. Seahawks are at home, and then even in the playoffs, the Stafford he has the worst passer rating out of any QB under pressure in the playoffs this season. So Stafford he hasn't been the MVP caliber quarterback he was in the season, just like Drake May was. So I think that Seattle defense can scare him a little bit, even though he's put points on him both games that he faced them this season. But I just love what the Seattle team is doing, even without Zach Charbonnet, which I think is a big loss. Rams can key in on Kenneth Walker. But if Darnold, if he plays a clean game, Seattle should win this. And historically, Seattle's 13-4 in 17 home playoff games in Seattle's 10 years. So I I'm gonna take them to cover and get to the bowl too. Darnold has even if he has one turnover, I think Seattle finds a way to win this game. Rams haven't really impressed me this playoffs in the two games that they've played. So we've been talking about Seattle being the best team for probably 5 6 weeks now. I think they get it done and get to the bowl as well.
All righty. We're picking the same way on both games for the championships. That's it for the games. On to the true or falses. True or false? The NFC Championship game is basically the Super Bowl, and I will go true because I've watched the Rams and I've watched the Seahawks, mostly the Seahawks. No team's even close to the Seahawks. I don't care who wins out of the AFC. I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win out of the NFC. So I think the Seahawks will play either the Patriots or the Broncos. And we've seen the Patriots' offense. Their offense has been abysmal. And you know who they haven't played? They played the Texans. That's damn good defense. And we saw how they played or fared in that game. They had 3 turnovers and they allowed 5 sacks. Well, the Seahawks defense is better. And I think that Seahawks offense is more well rounded. So I think if they get them, I think if they get the Patriots win, the Seahawks dominate them. And then if they get the Broncos, they get a backup quarterback. Seeing that defense, same thing. The Seahawks, I think they're going to win the NFC, so I think they're just a way more talented team. And even if the Rams win it, I think the Rams are better, a good amount better than both teams in the AFC. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I feel like since since after like week 12 of the regular season, we've been talking about Seahawks and Rams being the best two teams in the whole entire league, and a lot of people have been saying whoever comes out of the NFC is gonna win the championship, and I've stood on that, and it's Seahawks and Rams again, round three, and yeah, I believe either one of these, whoever wins, I think will win the ship. They have experience on the defensive end, good quarterback play. Yeah, Seahawks have the best roster in the whole entire NFL. And then if Rams make it, they've already been there. They got a veteran quarterback and coach. So yeah, I agree with you. Whoever comes out of the NFC, I think will win versus the Patriots or Broncos, who have still have some what's the word? Young quarterback play and young guys on that offensive end. So I think they're ahead of schedule, but they're uh, they're a few years before their time. So
All righty, next true or false. True or false? People will forget the Jets, Sam Darnold, if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl this year, and I'm going to go true. The league's a what have you done for me lately? And if they win a Super Bowl this year, people will think, oh, he's won a Super Bowl this year. And here of late, he hasn't turned the ball over. He's been good. He's not kept it in harm's way. He knows his role. He's been a game manager, which people think that's a diss. That's not a diss. Tom Brady was a game manager early in his career. Mahomes has been a game manager at times in his career. Like all-time great quarterbacks have been game managers, and that's what he's been this year. He hasn't tried to do too much. I mean, it's a long way from Sam Darnold seeing ghosts in that Monday night football game against the Patriots. So I think his team will win the Super Bowl this year. He will play well, and people will forever forget that he was on the Jets and he saw ghosts.
I'm gonna go true as well. I feel like even last season, like I've already forgot he played for the Jets. I forget he even played for the Panthers. Like that seems like it was 10 plus years ago. He hasn't even been in the league 10 years. He's finished 28-6 the last two regular seasons. Now a lot of that has to do with the defenses he had on his team. He played with some very good defenses, but I mean nobody's gonna remember that. Like if he wins this and even gets to the bowl, like I think it's got to be true. Like I said, I've already forgot that he played for those teams, and he's already revamped his career. So yeah, I won't go true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and look at those teams. You said the Jets and the Panthers. I mean, have we seen what the Jets have done at quarterback for the last since Mark Sanchez? So I think that's the Jets are like they keep drafting people and then kicking people to the curve. Like at some point, the Jets got to look at themselves and be like, oh, maybe they're ruining quarterbacks, not the quarterbacks aren't as good as we thought they were. And the same thing with the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers had Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and we've seen what both of them have done since they left Carolina.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
definitely a Jets thing. I mean, no, I don't know. It's gonna have to take some elite coaching to change that franchise and a good GM. Because yeah, it seems like it's almost impossible to change that Jets culture there.
yeah, it'd be toughy. Next one, true or false? QB dialogue is stupid, and I'll go true because I've seen people this week saying Josh Allen just can't win the big one, and he can't. He's not a clutch player. And I was like, well, I wonder if the most yards per game and the best touchdown to interception ratio, that feels like that's clutch in the playoffs. And then people forget things too because Ravens fans this year will be like, oh, Josh Allen, did you see he sold? Oh, we don't care that he played great in the second half and that Brandon Cooks didn't come down with that ball. But then they forget last year Lamar did the same thing. And hey, Lamar was awesome last year. It's one of those things people say he can't win the big one. Well, you know what he did last year in the second half? He was awesome. He was phenomenal. I mean, he was using his legs, completing passes, and because Brandon Cooks gets the ball taken from him, and then last year Mark Andrews drops a ball, we think that these guys aren't clutch. And that's it's angering me because other people outside the QB not making plays is putting people's QBs further down on rankings. And it's got nothing to do with them. Some of these guys have played great in the playoffs. They haven't got the bounce here. They haven't got the luck there. Their defense hasn't got to stop there. Maybe they do turn the ball over. But like the QB dialogue being purely based on Super Bowls and not what they do in the regular season and not how they perform in the playoffs, not win or loss. There's 22 people that play on a football field. But how they actually play in the playoff game, I don't like where we're at with QB dialogue. It's turning into NBA talk, where he ain't got 6 rings, he can't be the best of all time, he can't be better than MJ. But yeah, I saw a couple of those things this week, and it angered me. Where's your stance on this, Philip?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go true. It's kind of stupid. Even guys like you said, Josh Allen, Lamar, those are the main ones, obviously winning MVPs. But even guys like Joe Burrow, who's basically always had a terrible defense since he's been in the league, and then it's always uh, just them bashing his people bashing his name. So it's kind of dumb. I feel like this was the first year where Josh Allen like heavily contributed to his loss, and they still had a chance to win at the end of the game. Controversial call. So I mean, this wasn't all on him, obviously. And then obviously the past few years was really never on him. He made the plays he needed to make. That defense couldn't stop anybody. And same with Lamar. It's been other guys that's been detrimental to their losses, and it's always he's never gonna win a Super Bowl because of this and that. So yeah, I think it's kind of stupid, and I agree with you. We definitely got to cut it out because it's getting out of hand.
Well, and we'll even go past Burrow, which I didn't even think about Burrow, but yeah, Burrow's had one of the worst defenses, and it's like, oh, he can't win. It's like, well, their defense gives up 35 points a game. That's not very easy to overcome. Josh Allen, Lamar, obviously, but then even this year in the playoffs, Justin Herbert and C.J. Stroud have gotten killed, but deservedly so. They didn't play well. But then nobody's talked about Drake May, who's got a 58% completion percentage. He's turned the ball over 5 times. He's got sacks 10 times. But just because his team won, ain't got nothing to do with his play. He's not played well. But because his team's won, nobody talks about it. So yeah, that just speaking on one person on a whole football team, it being their fault or them not being clutch simply based on a sport where there's 22 people is just dumb, and I don't like it. So yeah, that's annoying. But on to that's it for true or false. On to who are you taking first? Who you? What coach are you taking that's left in the playoffs? And I'll go first. Give me Mike Vrabel. I know Sean Payton has won a championship. I know Sean McVay's won a Super Bowl. But give me Mike Vrabel. I mean, that guy in Tennessee. You go look at some of his teams. He had AJ Brown. He had Derrick Henry. But Ryan Tannehill was his quarterback, and basically outside those three guys, there ain't another name that you're mentioning on those teams because maybe outside Jeffrey Simmons, he was a heck of a player. But I mean, he took those teams and they were constantly top three, top two, sometimes the number one seed. One had multiple years there where they won playoff games. And look, he takes over the Patriots. They're 4-13 last year. They're 14-3 this year. And once again, you look at that defense. Ain't a lot of top name guys out there, but he's got them playing hard. And that guy just, I don't know what it is about him. He knows how to coach. He don't take the nonsense. Diva receivers stop being diva receivers when they play for him. So if I have to take a coach that's left in the playoffs, give me Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Sean McVay. This guy's a mastermind, especially on the offensive end. He's already got a Super Bowl win under his belt. He may get another one this year, and the guy's just a genius. He's turned a lot of no names into names, and I feel like even when Stafford's gone, this guy he's still gonna be on the top of the map. He's gonna turn another quarterback into a stud. So I like Sean McVay and what he's done since he's been at the Rams. He's gonna be coaching for probably another 30 years or so. He's really young. So give me Sean McVay.
All righty. Next one is based on what a former head coach, what he took. That he didn't take one job and he took the other job. What job you taking? Eagles offensive coordinator or Chargers offensive coordinator? And give me the Chargers. Simply based on one fact, they got a better QB. Like Hurts feels kind of limited. And Justin Herbert, I know he's had struggles in the playoffs, but he's got the big arm. He can use his legs. He's played great regular seasons. I think you get in there, you get Justin Herbert, you get both of his tackles back, you get Keenan Allen, McConkey, you get Omarion Hampton healthy. I think I get why Mike McDaniel chose the Chargers. Like I think for me, that's a better job, and everywhere else is might even be the Eagles. But when I coach the Chargers, I know I got a better QB. Which one you picking?
Give me. I'll take the Eagles. I'll go on the other side simply because I mean we did just see this team win a Super Bowl. I think their offense can easily be fixed. A lot of dumb play calling this past year. Saquon didn't get the ball enough. They had a lot of offensive line issues, like Chargers. But it seems like ever since Herbert got in the league, Chargers have Chargers have always had offensive line issues. And yes, they did have two Pro Bowlers injured this year. But I mean, even before this year, Herbert's always like in the top five, top 10 in getting sacked. I think this Eagles offense with the right coordinator and the right play calling, I think they'll be right back to that championship pedigree that they was in the last season. And you still got the weapons on the outside, Devontae, Goddard, Brown probably won't be there next year, but they'll bring somebody in to fill in that hole. And yeah, once their offensive line's back healthy, I think they'll be fine with Hurts. So
Alrighty, next, basically the top five running backs. Who you taking out is Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Gibbs, James Cook, or Bijan? And give me Gibbs because I think Gibbs is the best all around back. I think he's a power back. We've obviously seen the breakaway speed, and he's an elite for a running back. He's an elite route runner. I mean, they put him at a receiver. He's cooked people. And like I said, he's got it all. He can make people miss. He can run people over. He runs through arm tackles. He's got the breakaway speed. He can run for power, and he's a route runner. Now, Bijan's a super close second. I mean, ridiculously close. Like it's just because I have to pick someone, I picked Gibbs. But basically, Bijan and Gibbs are tied for first. But I'd have to pick Gibbs if I had to pick. Who you picking?
This is tough. I feel like yeah, Gibbs and Bijan, you can literally go with anyone. I'm gonna go Bijan though. I think Bijan has out of any of these guys has done the most with less. I get it. I guess it you can't really put it as hypothetical, but I feel like Jameer Gibbs, he has all the tools in Detroit for him to be great. I don't think he'd be as good as Bijan at Atlanta. He'd still be phenomenal, but I think just Bijan, he's explosive, can really do anything for you in the passing game and running game. And he hasn't been on a great offense. He's had Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins as his quarterbacks as well. So I gotta go Bijan. What he's already done since he's got to Atlanta, he's been truly a stud. So I'm gonna go, yeah, give me Bijan Robinson.
Alrighty, last who you taking? Before I said, does Kellen Moore coaches in New Orleans, right?
Yes.
Okay, bet that's kind of a factor in this next one. Who you taking? These are the top three rookie quarterbacks. Who you taking? Dart, Tyler Shuck, or Cam Ward? And give me Tyler Shuck. Like we saw, they were 1-5 when he came in, and they were terrible. Well, not when he came in, but like when they were at 1-5 at a point and had a terrible record. Everything looked lost. It looked like they had no weapons on offense. Their defense stunk, and then they get rid of Shaheed, and then Shuck plays, and somehow without Shaheed, without a number two receiver, he took this team to have a winning record when he played. And I mean, played phenomenal. He's got everything. He's got the legs. He's got the big arm. He had great decision making. He didn't really turn the ball over too much. And he's got Kellen Moore. And we've seen what Kellen Moore did in the Eagles offense and what other offensive coordinators have done with that offense. He made that offense look better than it ever has. And I think with the combination, that's what you need. You need the head coach and the QB, and that's what the Saints got. I think Cam Ward gives you the best flashes out of the three because I think he makes the craziest plays with his legs and throwing back to the middle and kind of making crazy stuff. I think he can be a heck of a player. I think if they get the right OC in there, he'll be good. And Dart probably had the best year as a whole because he just played more games than Shuck. But the thing that worries me with Dart, he just will not slide. So I don't know how long he plays. I think he's got it all. I think he can be a heck of a player. But out of those three, give me Tyler Shuck. Who you taking?
This is tough because I see great upside from all three of these quarterbacks. But I'm gonna side with you and Tyler Shuck. You saw what this offense did since he took over at the helm. You could argue that if he started the whole year, this Saints team might have gotten to the playoffs because they was only finished 2 games outside of the playoffs. So I think Shuck with a younger head coach now, you got your receiver, your star receiver in Chris Olave. You got some other studs on that offense. I think Shuck has definitely provided a spark in that Saints offense. I think, and Saints is a team that they never stay down for long. So this isn't a franchise that's never too bad. So I think Shuck and the Saints offense moving forward will be tough to deal with. Like you said, Cam Ward, I think he'll be just fine because at the end of the season, you saw him. He didn't turn the ball over as much. He was getting a lot of touchdowns, and Titans were more competitive in their games. He didn't have anything to work with. Honestly, he had no weapons. So if they get some weapons in Tennessee, I think Cam Ward can. He'll be a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the league. And yeah, Dart. he showed the flashes, but it's always a worry with him not sliding, him always in the blue tent and missing games because he also has guys like Cam Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors on his offense. But you always, I mean, you got Jim Harbaugh as your coach too, so they Giants should be really good moving forward as well. So I like all three, but give me Shuck for the slight edge.
Yeah, like you said with Cam Ward, finished the year really good. Finished it not turning it over. Higher completion percentage, more touchdowns, more yards. And I think if they get the right OC in there, I think he'll be really good. I think he won't have a Drake May second year boost, I don't think, but I think he'll take a step next year. I think all three do. I think all three play really well next year, and all three, yeah, just play really well next year. Alrighty, that's it for who you taking. We're gonna put a new twist on who makes a statement. Who makes a statement could be a team, it could be a player, or it could be a side of the ball. So however you want to do it, whether you want it to be a player, a side of the ball, or a team in general, who you think makes a statement this week, Philip?
Give me give me Sammy Darnold, man. We the debate. I mean, it's really been about you. The what you've done versus the Rams the last two seasons. Like I said earlier, you have a 1-3 record versus them. You have 8 turnovers in those 4 games. This is your time to revamp your career. You finished 28-6 the last two regular seasons. People have already forgotten that you played for the Jets and Panthers. If you make it to the Super Bowl, you have the defense to do it. So it's really all on you to not turn over the ball and just handle your business. So I think Sam Darnold he has a huge opportunity in front of him to change his career around to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league after he had a rough start to his career. So I think Sam Darnold, he's gonna make a statement this week. He's not gonna turn over the ball and he plays just a clean game. So I think Sam Darnold he makes a statement versus the Rams.
Alrighty, I'm going to go in that same game, the other side of the ball. Give me the Seahawks defense. I think the Seahawks defense takes the ball away multiple times, holds them to under 17 points, and really just dominates this game. And it gives the feeling, it's going to give the feeling of an old Seahawks defense. That Legion of Boom defense, when they would get into the playoffs and play all time great QBs and offenses and just completely shut them down, turn them over, and just rip their heart out. So I think the Seahawks defense does that. I think they get after Stafford. They get pressure in his face. He makes mistakes. They turn him over. Like you said, Darnold plays well, doesn't turn the ball over, and I think they win pretty handily. So yeah, give me the Seahawks defense to make a statement. Oh, and
Stafford's gonna thank Richard Sherman's in this game.
what'd you say?
Matt Stafford's gonna thank Richard Sherman's in this game.
Oh, he
Playing
might.
in this game.
Yeah,
Yep.
he might. Oh, and
What's he gonna say?
one final thing before we get out of here, and it's about my Steelers. Steelers, what are we doing? Why are we interviewing Mike McCarthy? Because I know what comes with Mike McCarthy. That would be Aaron Rodgers. And if you bring back Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, you know what you wouldn't be doing? You wouldn't be making really any change because you'd be having an old school head coach that won one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, MVP Aaron Rodgers, and you'd be bringing back 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And that was the whole point of Tomlin stepping down. Like that for fans was like, oh, thank God, here we go. Like now that Tomlin stepped down, we love Tomlin. We appreciate Tomlin. Like, but now that he stepped down, we can get young, we can get new, we can change our ways. Instead, the Steelers interview Mike McCarthy, and he's one of the final three candidates. And like I said, not only would that happen, they said they're back to bringing Rodgers back. So you're still in the same boat of 9-8, 10-7. So I don't know what if they hired Mike McCarthy. I don't know what I'd do. I'd be angry. I'd be upset. But yeah, I seen that those were the final three candidates, that I almost lost my mind because I was like, Steelers, what? Steelers front office. You don't listen to the fans at all, do you? That was the whole point, and that would be out of their comfort zone. What they've done every time they've hired three head coaches since 1960 something, since Chuck Noll, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. All three have been in their 30s and defensive guys. And yeah, I don't know. When I saw that, there's still Chris Shula and Anthony Weaver, but just Mike McCarthy being in there angered me, and I had to say something. I couldn't say nothing.
Who's the other two candidates?
Chris Shula and Anthony Weaver.
Oh yeah, my bad. I did see Shula. Okay.
Yeah. So and the Dolphins defensive coordinator, I don't know why he's an option because never in the past 2 years that he's been there have I thought, oh man, that Dolphins defense, ooh, there's something about that defense. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of other defenses where I've watched their defense and I'd be like, man, that's a heck of a defense. Like I'd like their head coach to be my head coach, but when I watched the Dolphins, that wasn't one. But we'll see. Any other thoughts before we get out of here, Philly?
No.
All righty. We'll see you all on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Be safe, by the way, with that snowstorm coming in.